Hello everyone from ancient Egypt. I'm Dudok9 from the Build Like the Greats team. Today we're diving deep into the secrets of ancient Egyptian culture and architecture. Of course, Egypt is famous for its pyramids, but they're just the tip of the iceberg. Or should I say, the Pyraberg. Did you know that ancient Egyptian civilization lasted for more than 3,000 years? Even for Cleopatra, the Great Pyramids were already ancient. She studied them much like we do today. But today, we're mostly focusing on something even more fascinating. Temples. Temples weren't just places of worship. Egyptians believed that the gods actually resided in the temples. Each temple was dedicated to a specific god. Here's the temple I built in Minecraft, following a typical Egyptian layout. Before the entrance, you see Sphinx statues. These are like the Great Sphinx of Giza, but smaller. And sometimes there were hundreds in front of a temple. The Sphinx is a lion with a human head on it. I recreated it with granite and jungle wood. The main attraction is the entrance. The two towers are called Pylons. They leaned inward and were decorated with hieroglyphs showing pharaohs and battles. In Minecraft, I added iconic symbols like the Eye of Horus and the Ankh. Egyptians also placed flagpoles in front of the pylons. Next, the obelisks. These were tall, pointy monuments carved from a single granite stone with hieroglyphs and a pyramidion on top. They were made for Ra, the sun god, and they marked the entrance to the temple. You'll also find statues of the pharaoh who commissioned the temple, often both standing and seated, signifying the divinity of the pharaoh. Now, let's enter the temple through this massive wooden door. Wood was rare in Egypt, usually imported cedar or cypress. I use jungle wood because it fits the sandstone nicely. We arrive at the main court, a large open space surrounded by a portico, a covered area with columns. Only the main court was open to the public. Other areas were reserved for priests. The first sacred space is the Hypostyle Hall or the column forest. This closed area has a lower ceiling, creating a dramatic effect. The middle columns are taller, forming a clerestory that lets in limited light. This hall connects the main court with the sanctuary. Symbolically, it connects the earth to the heavens. Beyond the Hypostyle Hall is the sanctuary, the most sacred part. No natural light enters here. Inside is the altar for daily offerings and the naos, a wooden box housing the cool statue of the god. Only the high priest or the pharaoh could open it. Next to the sanctuary are small rooms for priest robes, incense, and offerings. Larger temples might have double hypostyle halls or extra rooms near the sanctuary, but the main layout stayed the same across Egypt. Now, let's talk about columns. Egyptian architecture used many types. In this build, I included my favorites. Closed lotus columns, which I used in the main court. Open palm leaf columns in the middle of the hypostyle hall. And closed papyrus columns for the back. Columns were often decorated with hieroglyphs and sometimes they even housed statues. I briefly mentioned the pyramids earlier, but now let's dive into them. Pyramids were built as burial sites for pharaohs. In the beginning, Egyptians constructed pyramid-like structures called mastabas, which later evolved into the iconic pyramids we know today. Originally, the pyramids were covered with white limestone, and they were so shiny that they were blinding to the eye. The very top had a pyramidion, a small pyramid often made of pure gold. Inside, pyramids contained corridors and chambers for burial purposes and for treasures. In this build, I used diorite, quartz, and pale oak for the main pyramid. For the golden pyramidion, I added bamboo to represent the shining gold tip. The ancient Egyptians believed they would live in the afterlife with whatever they took with them, so they invested far more in their tombs than in their everyday homes. Because their houses were simple mud brick structures that mostly vanished over time, I didn't focus on those buildings. This was a brief tour of the ancient Egyptian civilization and its architecture, built by hand, with primitive tools. These monuments have stood for centuries. They remain monumental and breathtaking even today. This is the heritage of the Nile River civilization. I hope this helped you understand the main elements of ancient Egypt and inspired you to create realistic structures in your own world. Let us know which style we should cover next. I was Dudok9. Have a great day and goodbye.